The theory of evolution states that man came from monkey. We changed and improved in every facet of our being, maybe not aesthetically, and now here we stand at the final known stage of that process. But I'd like to propose a counter theory where I argue that only our bodies underwent significant changes while our brains stayed exactly the same, because if you've ever watched a video about monkeys reacting to arbitrary reward systems and thought, haha, funny monkey, they're so silly and stupid, I have news for you. Our little pea-sized brains get tricked in the exact same way every single day. I kinda wanna do a little exercise here, just bear with me. Let's share one fact with each other. I'll go first, and then you can go in about 12 to 13 minutes when I finally stop for a breath. Here's a little fact about me. I have 44 platinum trophies. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, and it isn't to trophy hunters, but I just started collecting platinums like 5 years ago, so that's 9 plats a year, and I don't seek out games specifically for their trophies. These are platinums from massive 30 to 80 hour games. 9 a year, that's a solid number, I think. And you know what I get out of it?
Fucking nothing.
Nearly every platinum on that list has asked me to do something that I don't find particularly fun on its own. If I was playing without the trophies in mind, there's no way I would have done half of this stuff, but I did it because it gives me more numbers next to this icon on a PSN account that has like 5 friends and they barely know what a PlayStation trophy is. I don't even get to show it off to people. Like, PlayStation doesn't ship me a badge that says, hey, this guy spent a significant amount of time he could have used to better himself as a person to farm XP in Platinum Assassin's Creed Origins instead, a game that he only kind of enjoyed. And yet, I still collect platinum trophies, even if people don't get to see how cool I am. Did you know that PlayStation actually has a proper reward system now? It's called PlayStation Stars, and it's a program where you can earn points by completing certain tasks on your PlayStation. Points can be used for a bunch of stupid collectibles that nobody cares about, or they can be used on discounts for games, which people does cares about. The conversion rate is pretty awful, and the easiest way to get points is to buy other games, so it's really all just a trick to get you to buy more stuff, but you can earn points just by playing games you already own and completing certain challenges around them. You could easily accidentally earn points every once in a while if you signed up and engaged with PlayStation Stars. So while it's a little bit obtuse, there is a tangible payoff for completing these tasks, which theoretically makes them infinitely more valuable than trophies. And guess what? There's not a goddamn soul using PlayStation Stars. The only 2 people on there are Jim Ryan and some poor guy who mistook it for PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Because people would rather spend hours of their lives hustling to get a shiny picture and a satisfying ding than something with a touch more worth but absolutely zero pageantry. That's why people will dump the same amount of money on Fortnite skins as they would an entire separate video game. We all have monkey brains, and developers know that. If they're nice, they can use that understanding to give us a bunch of thoughtful prizes for just hanging around and playing their game for a little bit longer, and we'll be like, yeah, monkey happy. It builds a strong fan base. If they're a little bit ambivalent, they might give us kind of useless, not well thought out rewards, and we'll be like, alright, monkey content. You've done enough for monkey to finish game. Sometimes monkey will grind for hours for your little prizes as if it's worth anything. But if they're selfish, they can take a $10 bill from us and hand us back a $5 with RGB lighting, and us monkeys will clap like we haven't just been robbed in broad daylight. Reward systems are intrinsically linked with basically every part of gaming, not just in multiplayer games, but in single-player ones as well. XP, skill points, upgrades, but that's not what I'm talking about here. That's boring. I'm talking about rewards that aren't crucial to progress, the extra incentives and bonus content given to players that spend more time with the game or look at it with a keen eye. Stuff that you could take away and still have a fully functioning product left over, but their inclusion allows the developers to show respect to players who fully engage with their product, or alternatively, they give us a little check mark to commemorate collecting 600 loose leaf papers and we go, yay! One of the easiest ways to do this is by giving players cooler weapons and sick-ass drip for doing optional stuff. Sometimes it isn't even really optional, like completing side quests, which you gotta do in most games at some point anyways to boost your level. But if you attach a special weapon or outfit to that quest, then you can help the player justify it as seeking something they want, instead of just performing a task so they can progress. A lot of games also offer different skins and outfits if you complete certain challenges or explore the map thoroughly, like in Solar Ash where you get new suit parts for opening caches, or in Jedi Fallen Order where you can collect a bunch of ponchos which are all varying levels of extremely ugly. Cosmetic collectibles are easy. Players just pick whichever one they want to stare at for the next little bit, and if they get something that they're not the biggest fan of, whatever, the next one might be great, and none of these outfits necessarily make the previous ones obsolete. But a problem that functional collectibles like weapons run into is that the more you give the player, the more useless each one seems, because why would I chase Sword A from this side quest when 5 minutes later I'm gonna unlock another side quest which gives me Sword B, which is better in every way? You end up diluting your reward system, so you either need to limit these rewards, just space them out better, or you need to find better ways to differentiate between them. them. The Borderlands games drop an obscene amount of guns over the course of their campaigns, and give guns as rewards for completing quests, but because there are so many different weapon types and they all have different effects and perks and special properties, each one doesn't necessarily render the last one useless, so you're more inclined to seek them out. And then there's hidden content. I have a lot of respect for games that can feel like complete packages when I roll credits, only for me to realize that if I looked around a little bit more, there's so much else to do, especially if the games aren't designed as huge open worlds. The new Tomb Raider trilogy is mainly linear, but if you step off the beaten path, there's a bunch of optional tombs to explore. In games like Sonic or Pizza Tower, you can break through secret barriers for mini in-level challenges that a lot of players will likely miss. And in Ultra Kill, you can unlock secret levels by doing something that I apparently don't know how to do because I haven't found a single one of them, but I know they exist, and one of them even lets you activate a cheat code where you can turn Ultra Kill into Crash Bandicoot, which I don't even really know what the correlation is there. That's one of the weirdest crossovers I've ever seen. Speaking of cheat codes, those are actually a unique type of reward in and of themselves. Back in the day, they were a way to encourage discussion around games. The more discussion, the more press the game got. And as for you, the more you talked about a game, the better chance you had of hearing these super secret codes that let you see Lara Croft's triangle boobies in the shower. Wowza! Some of these sequences became absolutely iconic. I've seen some tattooed on the bodies of NBA players, for Christ's sake. But it still felt like insider knowledge because they were called cheat codes. Like, I wasn't around when these were a big thing, but how I assumed it went down was that you'd go up to some guy at school named Chad and beg for GTA cheats, and he'd be like, "I'll sell them to you for $30. And you'd be like, what the hell, is this guy chain smoking? We're in the 6th grade, but damn it, I need those cheats. So you give him the money and he's like, if you press down, down, up, left, X, A, B, A, B, Q, X, you get infinite bitches. And all day you're repeating that pattern over and over in your head. Down, down, up, left, X, A, B, A, B, Q, X. Down, down, up, left, X, A, B, A, B, Q, X. And then you get home and realize that there's no Q on your controller and you just got mugged. Cheat codes do still exist today though. They're usually given for completing tasks or playing the game in a unique way, kind of like a, if you meet our demands, we take off the training wheels and let you go hog wild. Sound fair? Meta rewards like this tend to build a strong sense of community, whether you see it as in-jokes between you and the devs or a fun talking point when discussing the game with your friends, and the same thing goes for Easter eggs. Seeing different versions of patches in the Souls games or Majima popping up everywhere in Yakuza is always fun for longtime fans. You could have named them anything else this time around, but you didn't because you wanted to excite your core audience. It's even more fun when one game can hide a reference to another completely unrelated game somewhere, and fans of both who uncover it can get excited. If you look around Astro's Playroom, which is basically just one giant Easter egg of a video game, you see a bunch of Astro versions of PlayStation franchises. Finding all of these became a big part of my playthrough, and PlayStation continued those cheeky references in God of War Ragnarok, where the poems you collected were plays on different PlayStation properties like Death Stranding, The Last of Us, and even MLB The Show. They're all mini riddles where the titles are synonyms for the actual game titles, and the poems explain the game a little bit. I noticed one of these early on, and then I started trying to crack the code of every single one I could find. I wouldn't even read most of the other collectibles because reading is for nerds, but every time I picked up one of Kvasir's poems, I'd head to the menu and see if I could guess the game. I felt like I wasn't just being rewarded for finding these, I was being rewarded for being a PlayStation fan. It turned a mundane collection task into something actually enjoyable. Collectibles are probably the most common form of non-essential rewards in games, and they're also usually the ones that suck the most. Oh nice, you decided to explore a little bit? Alright, here's a picture that you can turn around. Pretty cool, huh? Collectibles are like the currency of exploration. You take the time to explore, I give you this thing in return, but most of the time these are so boring that it just feels like a formality. Like, I'm not really getting anything out of this transaction, you're just kind of tricking me into thinking I'm gaining something by looking around. But remember, monkey brain. I still see something shiny in the distance and say, oh man, it's shiny, gimme, gimme, gimme. The sad thing is though, when games put even a tiny bit of effort into the presentation or purpose of these collectibles, they become a standout part of the experience. I absolutely adore the collectibles in the new Doom games. These little figurines that you pick up and play with for a second are great, and you even get to display all the ones you have in your little man cave. It just makes me want to collect all of them even if they don't have any actual function, and if that wasn't enough, Doom also has collectible cheat codes which serve as a double reward because not only have you now unlocked certain modifiers, but if you collect all of them, you get the entire game of Doom 1 inside of Doom Eternal. If you engage with more parts of Doom Eternal, you're given a whole other Doom game for free, and if you go online and engage in discussion, you'll probably see that there's a secret code that you can use to unlock the entirety of Doom 2 as well. That's 2 full games that are hiding on this little computer in your room. It's incredible. Yeah, these games are old and you can probably pick them up separately for $5 total, but the fact that I earned them in this way and then they were just put in front of me to try out was the push I needed to actually get around to them. And I had a blast. These games actually hold up pretty well. This is how I finally experienced 2 of the most important games in history. I love Doom Eternal for a lot of reasons, but it's things like this that make it one of my favorite games ever. before. Rayman Legends does something similar where it lets you unlock a bunch of levels from the last game, Rayman Origins, inside of the new one just by playing it more and scratching these lucky tickets you get from playing the levels. It's the perfect example of the game respecting its players and giving us more than it necessarily needed to, but it's also an example of how easy a reward system can be exploited by greedier people. Most rewards in games are a form of manipulation. The devs could have just put it there for you to experience in a straightforward way, but they trick you into feeling like it's earned. And that's fine because we all accept that manipulation. It's more fun when the collectibles are off to the side and I feel like I accomplished something by finding them instead of them being dropped directly in my path. It's more fun when I collect all of the cheat codes to unlock the original Doom instead of there just being an option to play it on the main menu. Developers could put all the same content in the game without the contingencies and requirements and it'd be no skin off their backs, but it's more enjoyable for everyone this way. Unfortunately, that manipulative relationship also opened the door for the obscene monetization of modern games, where content that could have been put in the main game is held on to package it up as DLC. Cosmetics in full-price games are placed behind a paywall, and the grind of open-world games is made intentionally more tedious to decrease the rewards you get for playing the game so the devs can sell you XP packs that have way better rewards comparably. All of these shiny items could still be yours, but instead of your time and your passion, your currency is actual currency. Somewhere in the multiverse, Rayman Legends unlockable levels weren't old levels you got for free. Instead, they were levels that were first intended to be in the core game, but were then packaged like bonus content, and lucky tickets were essentially loot boxes instead of free items you earned from playing the game. And while we don't live in that universe, we live in one that's seen this happen to countless beloved franchises. And to see just how ridiculous it's gotten, look no further than battle passes. These have made it so you need to pay a fee to even open up the chance to earn the rewards. Like, you still need to constantly engage with the game to reap the benefits of the battle pass. You're no longer rewarding dedicated players with nice surprises or cheeky references. You're getting players to pay you by withholding content they should have had in the first place and then forcing them to justify that choice by staying dedicated. Otherwise, that money is wasted. You're essentially hoping that Stockholm Syndrome kicks in. And it makes me furious that the same principle that made Doom Eternal and Rayman Legends stand out to me as incredible games that care about their community has also been used to manipulate fans into paying for the things they want just because we have silly little monkey brains. Fuck you, Activision Blizzard.